Hey everybody, it's The Shape, and if you've been with me any length of time, you would know I'm a big horror movie fan. I mean, that should say it all. Well, now that's one of the reasons I got into debunking as well, because I used to watch all these bonus features on DVDs and how movies are made, and I would learn all the little tricks of the trade that we use to make horror movies. So I brought those skills over to Debunking Paranormal. Now along the way, when I first came to YouTube, I watched a lot of those location videos where people like Adam the Woo, Scott on Tape, Grimm's Life Collective, Nick P was here, and a bunch of others, where they go to horror movie locations where it was filmed to show you what it looks like now. Most people, if you've been on YouTube long enough, you would think, well, Adam the Woo, he's one of the OGs. I mean, he's been doing it for over a decade on YouTube. He's one of the OGs when it comes to horror movie location scouts. And you'd be right, on YouTube. But there's one guy who I've been a fan of since the early 2000s. That long. Sean Clark from Horror's Hallowed Grounds. You've probably seen his work if you ever looked at the bonus features on Halloween, whenever it would get like a Scream Factory release or whatever company that would like upgrade it visually for everybody and then put it out on a Blu-ray. That's where I first saw Scott. If I ain't mistaken, this is before YouTube. But anyway, he's got a channel on YouTube. It's called Malfunk Sean, and I'll link it down below. Big fan of this guy. He's like the true OG horror movie locationist. He's been doing it since the early 90s, documenting it. That I know of. He probably could have, maybe done it before then. I know he had one for Dawn of the Dead, the original, back in the early 90s, that he put up on YouTube. I never shouted his channel out because I thought, well, my audience likes debunking. His audience likes location scouts for horror movies and horror collectibles. You know, like movie props. Which a lot of you guys like that. A few of you, I'd say. So go check his channel out. It's the best. Him and Scott on Tape are the two best. Period. But now our worlds collide. Sean, a couple of years ago, had a visit by a possible spirit of one of his animals. I want to make it clear. He's no liar. So I believe he believes what he's seeing. He's not going to fake anything. Let's take a look, see if we can help him. See if we can figure out what this paranormal is, because he got it on video. I can tell you for sure that Sean is no fake. He's not staging this stuff. He doesn't even believe in ghosts. I don't think he believes in the paranormal. Maybe he does now, I don't know. But none of this is staged. And when he talks throughout the video, you can tell that's what he thinks is happening. Now, I don't think he's lying. Like I said, I've watched this guy for years. I've watched podcasts, you name it. The Things with Two Heads. That's his podcast. It's real good. But he comes off as genuine and honest. I think he believes what he believes. But I think in this case, it's a misidentification. All right, Sean, take it away.
Hey guys, how's it going? Doing something different tonight. Something I would have never expected to actually be doing. But the more I show people this, the more I talk about it to people, the more people are like, you have to share this, is in regards to the paranormal. Now, I know some people are going to hear this story and they're going to watch these videos I put up and they're going to think it's fake and they're going to think it's bullshit and that I made it up or it's somehow staged. Or here's the thing. Number one, I don't believe in the paranormal at all. Has this swayed me a little bit? Maybe a tiny bit.
See, right out of the gate, you get genuine vibes from this guy, and he's not the type to do that. He's not the type to fake or stage. There's no point in it. Now, I know in the past I've called out channels that didn't do paranormal, But every now and then they'd have a paranormal video pop up and I would say those were fake. But it's totally different reasoning if you know the people. Some people want attention, and when they don't get that attention, they'll do a paranormal video to bring more attention to their channel. Then they'll go back into their regular videos, and then later on down another paranormal video brings in more, and they'll do it that way. Sean, tell you what he does. He manages these conventions that these horror celebrities go to. In fact, some of them are his clients. That's what he does. And plus as for mentioned Horror's Hallowed Grounds, the series. But yeah, he's a really busy person, and he ain't gonna fake something.
I can't explain it. What I'm going to tell you and show you, I can't explain. So a lot of you know that, people that follow me on social media know that I had 2 dogs pass away within like a 3-week span. One passed away at the vet during a procedure, and then the other one I had to put down in my living room a little over a week ago. That was JC. They both currently reside right there. That's Zoe, and that's JC. In those boxes, those are their collars sitting on top of the boxes. Broke my heart. Pretty devastating. JC was put down in the living room.
Rest in peace to both his dogs, man. They're like family members. You guys remember how tore up I was about losing my cat. Disappeared. Never come back. It's heartbreaking. You could tell in his voice that, especially 2 within that length of time, heartbreaking. And I think that may be a reason for him to see what he thinks he's seeing, because of that strong attachment. But let's move on.
A few days later, I went to this convention. When I got home on the following Monday, there was a box at my door, and it was JC's ashes that had been shipped. That box was in another box. Took me a while to get around to actually opening it, but I did. And, I put it back there next to Zoe. That night, I went to sleep. Nay, my girlfriend, is in New York visiting her family. And it was just me and Mika. So we went to bed. This was a Monday night. And around 3:30 a.m., we were awoke by just kind of a bang sound. Sounded like it came from downstairs where I'm sitting now.
Now this will play into later, but the noise he heard was the 2 dog collars that are on top of the dog's ashes in the box. They're laying right on top. One collar on one dog's ashes, then the other collar on his other dog's ashes.
I jumped up, she jumped up, so she heard it too. And I looked at my security cameras because I have a monitor right next to my bed. Didn't see anything out of the usual, out of the ordinary. Ended up going back to sleep. Then 7:30 a.m., the gardeners woke me up like they always do every Tuesday morning. So I'm laying there waiting for them to get done because it's very loud. And I'm looking at the monitors to see when they're going to leave, and I see them loading their equipment. Then all of a sudden I hear another bang, but this time it sounds like it's coming from the hallway outside my bedroom. I jump up, I open the door. I'm like, what the hell? Nothing there. So I go back to bed, and I'm not trying to sleep at this point. I'm just laying there, and I grab my phone, and I think to myself, I'm going to go on here and look at my security system, and on the phone I can go back and go through the timelines. So I go through the timelines for like the front door, the driveway, backyard. I'm looking around, seeing nothing out of the ordinary. And I just happened to look at the timeline for the living room.
Let's be real here. Let's be very, very real. There's a lot of scary things that can wind up on your living room security camera footage. Especially you, Sean. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, Sean, where are you, buddy? Oh, Sean. Who's in here? I feel like somebody's right behind me.
And I saw something really odd. There was just multiple motion activities. And what happens when there's a motion activity, the cameras record 60-second snippets. There was over 100 of these recordings. First thing that popped in my head is, I got a doggy door. I'm like, I wonder if a cat got in or something, was running around or anything, some sort of animal of some sort. Possum, I don't know. So I go back to when I went to bed, and then I scroll forward to the first activity. Now I'm going to show you the video of the first activity. Now I want you to know that this room you're looking at is pitch dark. There are no windows at the front of the house in this area, and so there's no way light could come in, headlights or anything like that. You'll see a glow at the top left hand corner of the screen. That is another video camera. So you're seeing it's the infrared light that's kind of making a glow. Unfortunately, that camera doesn't record, only this one does in this particular room. So take a look at this and see what you think. I will comment on it during the video.
Oh, you bet I will, big boy. That's a cobweb or some other stringy type fabric.
Now that just came out of the hallway from where my office is. This is all in real time. The film is not altered or sped up or anything. This is exactly as it was shot.
See, the problem is this thing is in front of all the furniture. If it's coming out of these rooms and down the stairs and all that, it should be behind the furniture. But as we can see, no matter where it's at, it's always closer to the camera than the furniture is.
With a night vision camera, this room is pitch dark. If you were standing in this room, you wouldn't be able to see your hand in front of your face. It changes shape constantly.
You can even see here at the bottom of the string. You can see it all the way down there. Cobweb, fabric, whatever it is. You can see it's a string.
Eventually, it seems to I don't know if you want to say lose energy over time, but in the later videos, that was a cut right there because that first 60-second video ended. So this is another one. You'll see cuts randomly here and there between the different 60-second clips that the motion detectors recorded. What I was saying, in the later videos, you'll see it looks more like a string of light. As you can see, there's no windows in the front of this room, so car lights wouldn't be coming through. My backyard windows, there's a hill behind my house. There's no way for light to get in unless you were standing in my backyard.
Now, just want to point out real quick that if that is indeed the spirit of something walking around inside your living room, there's things that apply to it the same way it applies to me or you or an animal or a demon or anything. And that is furniture, rails on stairs. If there's any object between the ghost and the camera, like say the stair rails, then the ghost is going to be blocked by the stair rail. In shorter words, it looks like it's behind the rails as it comes down the stairs. That applies to ghosts. But this thing, the whole time, doesn't do that. You can look when it's coming down the stairs, it's not behind the rail, it's in front of the rail. Let me give you an animation.
Any furniture of anything between you and the camera should block your body. That's the way it works. Like if Sean's walking here, the bottom of his legs would be blocked by the furniture. If he's walking around the couch, the bottom of his legs should be blocked. If he's coming down the stairs, the rail is going to block his body. If it's truly in that space, that's the way it works. It would look like this. So, if we take the glowy thing and block it, it should look like this. If it's actually in the room, moving around the room, parts of it should be blocked, just like anything else. It should look like this. You see how the furniture blocks it? But it should look exactly like that. But that's not what we see. Here's what we see. It may look like it's coming down the stairs, but it's in front of everything. It's not being blocked. Parts of it aren't being blocked. And that's a big problem. That means it's not moving around the room.
Now this next video here, it's going to cut right here. And you can see it's starting, this is early morning now. See it, you can see it coming down the stairs. Now it looks like a string of light.
It's not coming down the steps because we clearly see it's in front of the rail. It's not behind the rail. That's why we know it's not coming down the steps, because it's not behind the rail. It should look like this if it's behind the rail.
This is probably 6:30 a.m. You can see the light coming through the shutters there in the dining room. If you look at the far bottom right-hand corner there, those are also shutters that are open and light is coming in.
Another thing I want to point out is when it's completely dark in there, this thing glows bigger. As soon as it gets a little brighter in there, it shrinks. Something paranormal, it shouldn't do that. The lighting should not change it like that. This shows that whatever this is, it's a physical object that's very, very, very close to the camera lens. I can't say for sure that it's a cobweb, although it looks like a strand of a cobweb. But you gotta remember, in your house there's insulation. Take insulation for instance. One little strand of pink panther insulation in front of that camera, just blowing with the air, could do that. You know, when it's a strand of fabric off a couch, a blanket, tablecloth, whatever, just one strand, it's not even heavy as air. You could hold it in your hand and think, well, I can open it. If I drop it, it's going to fall down. No, it'll go right up in there. And then you got to take static into consideration for something that small. It's right in front of the lens. And it looks like it's walking around the room. But it's not.
So whatever this is, it's close to the camera and it's just going back and forth. And it looks like it's, way deep in the room when it's really closer to the lens.
We are no longer really in night vision mode here. It does go to color when all the lights are on. Now, right where it's hovering right now, that's the dog bed where JC was euthanized. Now it looks like it's heading upstairs again. There's kind of like the vaulted ceiling there, so like where it's going up, there is no ceiling above it. When I first got up in the morning, the first thing I did was grab a flashlight, and I was looking across the ceiling and at the camera. See it, you can see it coming down again, to see if there was anything dangling, cobweb, anything like that. But look at how it moves. It moves all over the room. Different shapes moving from different parts of the room. Not like if a cobweb was hanging, it wouldn't do this.
And Sean, that's where I gotta completely disagree with you. A cobweb or any kind of strand of something would do exactly what that's doing right there. Exactly. I've watched enough videos. I've seen it over and over and over again. I'm going to take these two pictures. Now, one of them is a screenshot of Sean's video, and the other is a screenshot of a cobweb. Let's compare the two.
So let's copy the cobweb image and take it over to Sean's ghost and see if they look similar. And yes, look how similar they look. They almost look identical.
Plus, notice how it stays straight. It doesn't sway. There's no sway in it. It moves in a perfect straight line, kind of, you know what I mean? There's another cut. And now it's just hanging over the dog food and the water bowl area. I can't explain this.
It's just a string of cobweb or some kind of fabric.
And the only thing I can't explain is this video. And one of the other things that happened, I will point out at the end of this video. I believe I come downstairs here at some point. I'm carrying Mika. And I walk right up to this thing, and I don't see it. And I stop right in front of it, which is really crazy. I stop right in front of it and I turn around. Watch this. I stop right there and I turn around.
This shot alone tells me that this is close to the camera lens.
The reason I'm carrying her down is because the gardeners sometimes will leave the gates open, so I don't want to let her down right away because she'll run outside immediately. But for some reason, she doesn't run outside. She usually just bolts straight to the backyard, but she didn't this time for some reason. She's kind of hanging around here, and notice how she kind of stops and turns around. And I'm going out to make sure that the gates are locked.
Now, coming up, there's a cut, and then Scott turns the light switch on because he wants to investigate this matter. But I want you to watch what happens when he cuts, because it almost seems like the floating string vanishes, but it doesn't. If you look closely, you can still see it, and it's not moving. Well, let's just take a look.
So it went from here to here. See, it caught my eye. I want you to watch the cut. Keep your eye over there at the table. You see that? It's, one more time, not there. Now it's there. Now let's copy this and paste it and see if it matches that other thing I saw. Okay, we copy it. Now let's move it over to whatever caught my eye beside that table there. And if you put them side by side, you will see the little bead light shines match up perfectly.
Now this is me tripping hard, trying to figure out what the hell is going on, looking around for anything, any sign of something dangling, a cobweb, anything. I'm looking for, there's got to be an explanation. Okay, alfalfa there. I got a little alfalfa sprout hanging out.
I'm pretty sure that that's it right there. I'm pretty sure it's just so tiny that he can't see it with his eyes. And plus he's not looking in that general direction. But right there it is.
But, yeah. And now look behind me. There it is again. Now, there is a video missing, unfortunately. I probably shouldn't even tell you about it because you'll say I'm full of crap.
And watch closely. It disappears when he hits the lights right here. If it's a ghost made of energy, it shouldn't disappear simply because you turned a light on.
And after all that stuff he caught in his living room, well, here comes the part where he goes back into his office where the dog collars are.
Okay, guys, so I've strung together a series of various videos from that evening. I have no explanation. I've shown it to some paranormal experts. They had no explanation after they went through well, maybe this, and I debunk. They had no explanation for it.
Sean, you're talking to the wrong experts. Should have hit up this guy.
There is a part of the story I have not told you. And even I told one of my best friends this story. When I got to this part, he said I was full of it. He goes, dude, you're full of crap. You're making this up. I'm like, dude, absolutely the truth. So when I went to bed that night, those boxes right there were sitting there. See these? See? So JC's collar was sitting here on top of JC's box. Zoe's collar sitting here on top of Zoe's box.
This picture says a lot. You see this heavy metal hanging off here? That could pull the collar down all by itself on both of these. A simple vibration.
When I came into the office that morning, after all this happened, one was on top of the stack of the records, and the one over here was on the floor. I took a picture of it. I'm going to show you right now. This is exactly what I saw when I came in.
So, had they been thrown across the room, then I wouldn't be able to explain it. But as we see in this picture here, they fell exactly where they would have fell had gravity simply pulled them down. There's nothing paranormal here whatsoever.
Nothing else in this room had fallen down. If there was an earthquake or something, my toy room has all kinds of stuff that are just kind of teetering and, could easily fall over if there was a jolt of any kind.
Vibrations airflow can cause collars to vibrate and move. Another thing that could is that Frankenstein head behind you, Sean, that is moving by a motor.
Now look, I gotta be real here. The collars, to me, no. I think that over time, and it doesn't take long, the amount of walking through your house, opening and closing doors, walking across floors, flopping in your computer chairs, things on your desk back there moving back and forth will slowly make things like that vibrate to the edge. Now, where they fail is nothing beyond what gravity can do. You see what I mean? Where they fail is where they would fall had they vibrated off and fell. I mean, if they were clean across the room, I'd be like, okay, I can't explain that. But there, I just don't think that's paranormal either. But hopefully.
Just want to apologize. I keep calling Sean Scott because of Scott on Tape. I don't know why, but
Scott on Tape. Awesome location scouter. Sean's awesome, guys. Go check his channel out. Say hello. Tell him the Shape sent you. But no, I don't think it's a ghost. I think it's just all a series of things that kind of can fool your average person as far as thinking it's paranormal. But it's more tied into grieving. You know, he lost 2 family members, basically, in a short span of time. Yeah, it sucks. It does. But I always hope the best for you, Sean. So go give him a friendly comment. And we're still on our debunking grind. Got some bangers coming up and another location coming up. It's cool. Join Debunkers Anonymous on Facebook. I love you guys. I appreciate you. And I'll see you in the next video. Welcome back now. You hear? Peace.